Uterus collector? Like, that sounds like something out of a barbaric Netflix special that all of us would be like, holy fuck. Like, even Game of Thrones wouldn't have a uterus collector. Let's be frank. I've read all the Game of Thrones books, every single one of them. There's no uterus collector. There's no person walking around with a string of uteruses just dangling there. That would just be too fucking dark. That would be too dark for Game of Thrones. ICE detainees face medical neglect and hysterectomies, whistleblower alleges. Nurse Dawn Wooten says that she was demoted and reprimanded when she spoke out about the practices at the Georgia Detention Center. Immigrants at a U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement detention center in Georgia are being subjected to horrifying conditions and treatment, including jarring medical neglect and a high rate of hysterectomies among women, according to a whistleblower complaint filed by several legal advocacy groups on behalf of a nurse who works there. The nurse, Dawn Wooten, has been practicing for more than 10 years, 3 of which she was employed at Irwin County Detention Center in Georgia, which is run by a private corporation, LaSalle Corrections. So, immigrants who spoke out against these conditions were regularly pushed into solitary confinement. Wooten said she was demoted and reprimanded when she spoke out against these practices, according to an interview with The Intercept. The Intercept also reported that Wooten's account was bolstered by interviews with another current member of Vernon's medical staff, who asked not to be named for fear of retaliation, and 4 people currently or recently detained there. According to a new complaint, Wooten reported that an alarming high rate of hysterectomies, a surgery in which part or all of the uterus is removed permanently, being performed on Spanish-speaking immigrants, many of whom did not appear to understand why they had undergone the procedure. Could you fucking imagine that? Waking up and all of a sudden being like, oh, by the way, you just had a hysterectomy. You're barren for the rest of your life. And being like, what? I thought I was going in for an ovarian cyst. Isn't that the reason I'm here? And it's like, no, yeah, we've performed a pretty intense medical procedure on you, and you can never have kids again. That you're never going to be able to do that. We've removed probably one of the most beautiful and crucial parts to human existence, the ability to have children. Everybody he sees has a hysterectomy. Just about everybody, Wooten said. That's his specialty. He's the uterus collector. Everybody's uteruses cannot be that bad. What the ever-loving fuck? The uterus collector? The uterus collector? Like, that sounds like something out of a barbaric Netflix special that all of us would be like, holy fuck. Like, even Game of Thrones wouldn't have a uterus collector. Let's be frank. I've read all the Game of Thrones books, every single one of them. There's no uterus collector. There's no person walking around with a string of uteruses just dangling there. That would just be too fucking dark. That would be too dark for Game of Thrones. For Game of fucking Thrones. But this is happening. There's a real life uterus collector. And he's being paid for by your tax dollars. Your tax dollars have created the uterus collector. And he's collecting uteri. I don't know if uteri is the plural of this. What the ever-living fuck? Project Cells, one of the human rights groups that filed the complaint, had previously filed a report in 2017 regarding Irwin's poor treatment of detainees, including unsanitary conditions, inedible food, and refusing medical care to detainees. This place is not equipped for humans. Conditions have only worsened in the face of the COVID-19 threats. The complaint said the facility has refused to test detainees for COVID-19 in a timely manner. There is no social distancing possible in the detention center. We are calling for people to be freed immediately, and we've been calling for this facility to be shut down for a long time. This first off is a private prison, so it's a private company, and it's being outsourced by your tax dollars for the motherfucking uterus collector. Like, that is what is going on here. These are gross human rights violations. The U.S. government should be held accountable. Yeah, no fucking shit. Like, this is horrifying beyond belief. And like, you know, when we point the finger, when we do the Spider-Man meme at China and the Uyghur camps, and we're like, wow, that's a gross human rights violation. How could they ever have the audacity to do this? China is horrifying. Don't get me wrong. This is like, that's whataboutism. That's whataboutism. And guess what? On this end, this is for profit. This is for money, for fun and profit. Like, holy fucking shit. ICE whistleblower complaint alleges uterus collector doctor performs mass hysterectomies. Everyone's uterus cannot be that bad. Everyone that he sees has a hysterectomy. Just about everybody. Experimental concentration camps. Wooten also questioned the doctor who works outside of the facility.
To why they had those procedures. And one lady walked up to me here this last time around between October of 19 until July the 2nd, And she said, what is he? Is he the uterus collector? Does he collect uteruses? And I asked her, what does she mean? And she says, everybody that I talk to has had a hysterectomy, and you just don't know what to say. I mean, I don't have a answer for why that they would come to me and they would say, is he the uterus collector?
How would you describe the standard of care, the general sort of medical environment in which these migrants were detained?
The standard of care it wasn't timely all the time. They would have a procedure to where they would fill out forms to be seen. Those forms would be shredded. They would be told in area instances that, there's nothing going on with them, just on numerous occasions. And as a human, you just don't treat people inhumane. I have a title as a licensed practical nurse, and I protect my title with dignity, to where I was raised by you treat people as you want to be treated. The sanitation, especially during COVID, the sanitation was horrible. We didn't have anything to sanitize with. We didn't have the proper PPE. So they didn't have the proper PPE. They didn't have anything to sanitize with while they were down in the dorms as well. And when you ask, you would be reprimanded.
But Canada does it too. Canada's been doing it for a really long time. I mean, Canada, in many ways, should be a model to the world. Indigenous women come forward with accounts of forced sterilization, says lawyer. Laura says sterilization without informed consent has been performed as recently as 2018 in Saskatchewan. A proposed class action lawsuit alleges that coerced sterilization of Indigenous women in Canada is turning up reports from more than 100 women who say it happened to them. More than 100 women, and this is under the federal healthcare system of Canada. So again, our Canadian tax dollars at work to make sure that Indigenous women can never ever give birth again. Purging them from the earth, effectively. Some of the women did not realize that physicians, nurses, and other healthcare professionals, the government, couldn't make decisions for them about their bodies. Well, no fucking shit. It's important to highlight how traumatizing these practices have been and how difficult it is for women to come forward and talk about and disclose what happened to them. Yeah, I imagine it's pretty horrifying and pretty, traumatizing, to say the least, something that might give you PTSD. A series of consistent actions, but also inactions, allowed forced sterilization to continue. Stode is an assistant professor at Wilfrid Laurier University, researching reproductive justice, genocide, and eugenics in Canada. Because Canada loves its eugenics. A series of consistent actions, but also inactions, allowed forced sterilization to continue. I would say that it's the case up until today. When you know something is happening and you don't intervene effectively to stop it, that's an inaction that leads to a particular consequence. So we do it too. We do it too. The UN Committee on Torture. The UN Committee on Torture urges Canada to stop sterilizations of Indigenous women. The UN Committee on Torture is calling out the country.
Report confirming what we've known all along. Indigenous women continue to be coerced into sterilization in Canada. Wow. This is sickening. While the Liberal government continues to speak their empty talking points, Indigenous women in this country are still subjected to the harm of ongoing colonialism and systemic discrimination. This is simply wrong. When will the Liberal government put a stop to the savage act of robbing Indigenous women of their dignity, health, and their humanity?
Honourable Member, Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Indigenous Services.
Madam Speaker, the coerced sterilization of Indigenous women is clearly a violation of human rights. Our Minister of Indigenous Services met with one of the senators yesterday to further discuss this issue. To date, our government is ensuring that every mother knows that she is entitled to an escort during childbirth. We are investing in services such as the Maternal Child Health Program to support healthy pregnancies and healthy births. We are investing for the first time in midwifery, and we are implementing all of the TRC's calls to action.
Is that how that's pronounced, by the way? I thought it was midwifery. It's midwifery? That sounds like a whiff. A swing and a whiff, to say the least. Hey, Canadian Populist Left, thank you so much. Thank you for resubscribing. Welcome. No, wait, it's midwifery? I don't know. Could be midwifery.
We will continue ongoing work with all of our partners to improve access to culturally safe healthcare services and support.
Member for North Island Powell River.
Well, Madam Speaker, that's not all. Here's some more bad news. Yesterday, the Liberals rejected a resolution passed by the First Nations chiefs to amend the criminal code to outlaw sterilization. How can this be truth and reconciliation? The UN Committee Against Torture has confirmed that Canada is guilty of torturing Indigenous women by forced sterilization. Do the Liberals not understand that this is a stain on our country, a stain on every one of us in this House? Why are the Liberals tolerating forced sterilization of Indigenous women?
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Justice.
And what's so just mind-boggling about this is that is something that they're like proposing to codify. They're proposing that we put this into Canadian law, as in like, hey, can we make this illegal? Can we make the forced sterilization of Indigenous women something that we can't do anymore? Because that would be great.
Hey, we want to mutual aid you to get some eyeballs on your work. So if you have a leftist YouTube channel or Twitch stream or something you want us to advertise, just send us a 20 to 30 second ad using the forms at weareserfs.com. We'll do our best to help you out. And please submit once per channel.
To our God, I'm Wrath. We pray at your altar of greatness. To our monarch, Thomas Bone, you are the light that guides our path. To our lords, Jeffrey Lamb, Trevor R., Stephen, Ninetails Cosmic Fox, Hans Josephine, and Poppy Nelson, we bow meekly for your pleasure. To our Knights of the Round Table, Josh Mickelson, Dylan Byth, Alexander Thaler, Zach Christensen, Todd Buckingham, Todd Lajeunesse, Clement Chetska, Skybear Games, Moss Beast, Political Puppy, Ali Menthol, Jimmy Bignuts, Alan R., Andreas Chitoro, Good Poon Hates Cops, That's Solid Poon Then, Dr. Zayas, Joppy, Radiclu, Violent Orchard, and Sophie Baby, we salute you. And to our many merchants and farmers, thank you. Fuck you, Lance!